Listen, not everyone moving abroad is supposed to stay abroad. And just because you move back doesn't mean you failed. But I think some people fail to understand why some Americans move abroad but ultimately end up moving back. Most people assume that it's the money, or it's a visa, or the country wasn't exactly what they expected. And sometimes that is true, but most of the time it's something a little bit deeper than that. And it is something that's not really talked about enough. So today I want to talk about some of the real reasons that I've seen people move here to Dominican Republic and then decide to move back. And there's no judgment, but to help you understand what this type of move will ask of you. So if you're watching this and you're thinking about moving abroad, this video is not to scare you, because moving abroad doesn't magically give you a new life. You know what it does? It gives you a mirror. And how you respond to that mirror will ultimately decide whether you stay or whether you go back. And reason one, they expected the move to fix how they felt. This is one of the biggest reasons why people go back. They think that the move to Dominican Republic is gonna fix something internal. Burnout, feeling lost, feeling disconnected, and just feeling like life has lost its meaning. So they change countries thinking that once I get there, I'll feel much better. But here's the truth. A new country will not fix your internal tension. What it's gonna do is gonna expose it. I've seen people come here and they love the great weather, they love how beautiful the country is, they definitely like the lower cost of living, but within that few months, guess what? They are more uncomfortable than they were before they left and came to Dominican Republic. And it's not that the country is wrong, but because they brought everything that they was avoiding with them. And when you don't have a familiar routine, there's no busyness, no distractions, guess what? You're left with yourself. For some people, that is freeing. For others, it's terrifying. And instead of them doing the eternal work within themselves, guess what? They go back. You know why? Because it feels easier. Number two, their identity is built around the U.S. system. And this one is huge, and most people do not realize that until they actually leave. In the U.S., we all know your identity is tied to what you do. What you do for work, how busy you are, how productive you are, how much you are grinding, and then you leave the U.S. and guess what? No one cares. No one cares how busy you are. Nobody cares how much you grind. Nobody cares about what you do for work. Nobody's impressed by your resume. Nobody asks what you do as the first question. And nobody is measuring your worth by your output. For me, it was freeing. For others, it was as if they lost themselves. I'd seen people, once they moved here, they slowed down, and guess what? They panicked because they didn't know what to do with themselves because they wasn't busy. There was no more hustle. There was no more grinding. So they go back to the environment that made them feel important. And not because it was better, but because it was familiar. Reason number three, a lot of people underestimate the loneliness. Loneliness abroad hits different. Because in the U.S., you can mask your loneliness by activity. You're always moving, you're always working, you're always driving, you're always scrolling. And living abroad, especially in the beginning, if you're solo, it can become real quiet. You don't have your lifelong friends around the corner. You don't have these shared cultural references. All the holidays feel the same. And you can't have these easy conversations that don't require effort. I know I get like that sometimes, man. Sometimes I just want to have these easy conversations, especially when my wife's family is around. But it's hard because I can't do it. So it's always good when I link up with my guys like Pat, Jamie, Jonathan, Darren, Thomas, all these guys, man, because sometimes you just want to have those easy conversations again. So that can be missed at times, because building a community abroad is not overnight, because it takes time. It takes humility. And the hardest part about it is it also takes being a new person all over again. And some people expect these connections to happen automatically, and sometimes they do. But when it doesn't, they start to think something is wrong. And guess what? They start to miss home. And not because home was perfect, but because home was easy. And then they go back before the roots had time to grow. You gotta plant seeds, guys. You just can't come here and expect to build a community. You're gonna have to get out into the community, join certain activities in the community, and trust me, those relationships will start to develop. And number four, I say this all the time. They confuse vacation energy with real life, and they're two totally different things. This one here is subtle, but it matters. On vacation, everything feels lighter. You're not working, you're spending money and you're not managing it. You're not dealing with paperwork, healthcare, bills, or any type of routine. You're just enjoying yourself. So what happens is people move abroad and they're chasing that vacation dream. And I've seen many people do this in the beginning. But when I tell you, that's gonna burn you out quicker than anything. If you come here chasing that vacation energy, unless you got an endless well, you're gonna go broke. Number two, I just mentioned, you're gonna burn out really fast. And number three, the connections that you thought you were building are gonna be real shallow. So when normal life shows up, like going to the grocery store, frustration, bureaucracy, people start to feel disappointed. And not because something went wrong, but their expectations wasn't realistic. And I tell people this, life abroad still involves life. And when you're not prepared for that, some people feel that adjustment is like regret. Number five, this is a big one too. People want change, but they don't want transformation. Some people want a different view, better weather, lower expenses, but they don't want to change how they communicate, how they think, or how they define success. Because living abroad, it asks you to adapt. You can't move abroad and think you're just gonna tolerate things for the next 20 or 30 years. You're gonna have to adapt to different systems, to different paces, and to different expectations. If you come here and try to recreate your old life as it was where you came from, but you're just in a new country, guess what? That frustration is going to build fast. And then guess what? Those same people are gonna realize eventually that they didn't want a new life. They just wanted a slightly improved version of the old one. And when that doesn't happen, guess what? They go back. And number six, they never got a clear vision before they left. I've seen the people who struggle the most are the people who avoided the clarity piece of it. They skipped it. They didn't actually ask, what am I doing this for? What am I willing to give up? What does a good day look like for me? And the last one is important. What kind of discomfort am I okay with? And without clarity, everything is gonna feel heavier. And when uncertainty shows up, because it's gonna show up, it's gonna feel like danger instead of growth. So guess what? The familiar starts calling them back, and they gotta return. For me, staying abroad wasn't about me forcing it. It was about me knowing myself well enough for me to choose an environment that supported who I was becoming. And as I always say, it wasn't easy, but it was intentional. And regardless of what people say, I wasn't running, I was choosing alignment. And that difference matters more than people realize. So if this video resonated with you, don't rush into anything. Decisions like this are big, and they deserve clarity, not pressure. Before I moved here, understanding the real cost of living calmed my mind more than motivation ever did. That's why I created the cost of living calculator. It's not a commitment, but it's a thinking tool. And I recommend that you use it, especially if you're in a space where your curiosity is turning into attention. No rush, I'll leave the link in the video description below. Just check it out. So, last thing, moving abroad doesn't reveal the country, it actually reveals you. And knowing that ahead of time will make all the difference in your transition. So guys, remember, always keep your goals at the forefront of your mind. Always live in the present, because that's the only way you're gonna live your best life. And I'm out. Peace.
Je begon aan mijn best life, yeah. Je begon aan mijn best life, yeah. Something you and me, oh. Je begon aan mijn best life, yeah. Jumping, flexing, no.